just hear me out for a second, because there's a lot we got to do in 20 minutes here, okay? You have rivalries with Mina and Pablo.
Yes.
You think you're better than them. You are not yet better than them. But we are challenging you right now. We are challenging you to a process off of last night's game, okay?
Okay.
Instead of debate television, we want to study the process, not the result, okay? We don't want – the result is what the result is. The process off is you, me, us, and Stugotz arguing who had the better process last night. Amin, start the bidding.
Well – there's an interesting thing that happened. So I was talking to Tony a second ago, and we were talking about, hey, in life, when you want to say this is a really easy task, right? How do people describe it, Tony?
It's a layup.
It's a layup. It's a layup. And unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, they don't see it that way. They see that the three-pointer is basically what you're supposed to do, and therein lies the problem. You see, here, when you have bricks are bad. Not good. Layups, that's good, right? So the process of getting to the good means eschewing the bad.
That's not the right answer.
Hold on. I'm not done yet. So, specifically, what ends up happening is any good process has to be cognizant of the context in which it exists. Meaning, if this thing isn't working, we have to be able to balance the diet with things that might work, and then come back.
Amin is saying the Celtics need to change. The Celtics need to change everything they're doing. They're going to keep. They're going to keep shooting 25% from three.
Didn't say that either. But thank you.
Amin just used $3 words to be like shoot closer to the basket. It's a brilliant argument. No one's ever heard of it. Can I tell you? Listen, the Knicks won the process because they started their process a full year ago, and they have different goals in mind. The Celtics tried to build a team. Their process was to build a team to win a championship. The Knicks tried to build a team to beat the Boston Celtics. And just like we saw last year, when the defending champ in round 2 ran up against a team that was built with one specific purpose in mind: how can we beat that team? And then they lost the first 2 games at home, and then they ended up losing the series. We are seeing a Knicks team whose process started with an OG Anunoby trade, then a Mikal Bridges trade, then breaking up the Villanova core before they even got to play together for the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, not because it gives them necessarily the best chance to win the championship, but because it gives them the best chance to be able to guard and defend and beat the Boston Celtics. So their process started way earlier, and their process was different. So it wasn't about where people took shots last night. It was about how they constructed their rosters, and that's what we're seeing. That's not
perimeter defense. Boston misses more shots. You missed 75 of those shots.
Can I say something to you, Dan?
They're all uncontested.
Dan, why do we keep score? I swear to God, man.
No, man.
Dan, in Dan's perfect sports world,
here we go.
Wins and losses don't matter. Run and point differential matters. But actually, he doesn't want run and point differential. He wants expected run and
you know what?
expected point differential.
See the floor.
That shot was worth
hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Give me a break.
Hold on a second. Okay, yes, you've got a lot of... Look, man, this is simple, Nick. 6+ feet away last night. Listen to me. A defender 6+ feet away. Al Horford, 0 for 8. Derek White, 5 for 15. Peyton Pritchard, 3 for 10. Jason Tatum, 0 for 2. They're a good shooting team. They're not going to keep shooting 25% on uncontested threes.
Well, luckily for the New York Knicks, the games that played count. And one of those, and this is why I don't dismiss, but I don't pray at the altar of these numbers the way you seem to. One of those uncontested threes was by Jason Tatum in the corner, up 7 with 7 minutes left, when Jalen Brunson is the closest defender, and he's laying on the ground. And Tatum's like, well, 3's worth more than 2. I'm going to shoot this, as opposed to going to the hoop. That's bad basketball. So that part of Amin's argument was correct. My argument was just the more all-encompassing one. Your argument is it should be about what the score should have been rather than what it actually was.
Mr. Le Batard? Your rebuttal?
I thought I wasn't supposed to speak. I thought he was having the process with you guys because
he was arguing with you.
Dan, here's the issue. Hold on, I'm sorry. As soon as you announced you're going to do a process off, in my mind I was thinking, does Nick disagree with what I'm about to say here? Because I kind of think Nick is going to be on my side, and the person who's arguing your point is just you. And maybe Joe Mazulla, who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, by the way. Maybe Joe Mazulla might back you up. But nobody.
Can I say something about Mazulla?
Please do.
So, listen, I think Mazzulla's obviously a good coach. The fouling of Mitchell Robinson with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in a quarter when your team has 2 team fouls is so much worse than anything Mark Daigneault did 2 days ago that he got dragged for.
Preach.
The forcing your team when they are not in the bonus, or the Knicks are not in the bonus or close in the bonus, into the bonus and getting no benefit out of it aside from the fact that you're going to get one offensive possession without Mitchell Robinson on the court, that is bad process.
They fouled him twice, Nick. Twice.
They fouled him twice and got 0 free throws out of it, and it wasn't like, well, there's 8 minutes left in the quarter, so now we're going to get 6 minutes of him off the court. But the other problem with this is, and I think this is pretty obvious, and this is what is to me frustrating about the Celtics at times. Their strategy is most sound if one were to believe that they are not typically the more talented, better, more well put together roster. Like adding this much variance and having it to be where you could find yourself down 0-2 when the Knicks haven't even played that well, that made sense when the 2017 Houston Rockets were trying to compete with the KD Steph Warriors, because it's like, they are better than us. We need to shake the snow globe. That shouldn't be how the Celtics feel, and that part is odd to me.
They are riverboat gamblers, Dan, and they're betting it all, every single possession. And at some point, you have to kind of adjust, not because I'm abandoning my philosophies, but because I need to mitigate risk on every possession as we have a lead, as we have this cushion, and as the game gets shorter and shorter. The more they eschew, I'll use that $3 word again, eschew mitigating risk, the more they invite the variance that Nick is talking about, which is this thing goes sideways, a good team will make us pay for it.
Okay, I'm going to go to both of you as basketball experts and answer this question for me.
Couldn't say that to Pablo or Mina, tell you that much right now. They're better than me. I'm just saying. Basketball experts.
Set yourself up.
Just saying. Go ahead, as you were.
Surprised he called you that, to be honest. I mean,
Is Joe Mazulla a good coach?
Yes.
Yes, because good comes in a lot of different shades.
Is he going to make a change that Jaylen Brown is being quoted as saying they're not going to make a change, we're just going to make our shots? Like, are you guys are saying he's going to make changes, and I'm asking you, are you sure? I
don't think it's about Mazulla making the change. I think it's about Jason Tatum and making the decision in real time. You can't guard me. I'm going to the basket, and it is not nothing to me that at the end of yesterday's game, you know what Jason Tatum did? Went to the basket. And now one worked, one didn't. And so I don't think I disagree with you, Dan, as much as maybe it seems that I do, in that I do understand the idea behind the math being so overwhelming that in the long run, this is a sound strategy. But it is, Amin said riverboat gambler, and you guys know I am, I don't know, a semi-professional poker player. I play a lot of poker for real stakes.
How much on riverboats?
And there are different.
Answer his question. How much on riverboats?
Well, riverboats, Kansas City, Missouri, when I was growing up, you could only gamble on. Can I tell a quick story? I'll tell it anyway.
Please.
Yeah, please.
They made a law. They were like, hey, we need people to traverse the gorgeous Missouri River. So we need to make gambling legal on the river. So you would go on these riverboat cruises and you could gamble. And then they were like, that river's kind of dangerous. So the boat probably shouldn't have to leave the dock. And they're like, okay, but still you can only gamble on the boat. And then they were like, well, you know what? Since the boat doesn't leave the dock, what if we built giant hotels and then dredged the river to where one little tiny droplet of water touched the hotel? Can we call that a riverboat? And they were like, yes. And because of that, Kansas City's got 6 casinos. And because of that, I'm me. But that's not so yes, I've gambled on a riverboat. But when you are playing high leverage poker, the math is the same hand one to when you're at the final table. But your risk tolerance changes greatly if you're smart. And if you recognize, okay, in this spot, I can get all my chips in, and I'm a 60-40 favorite. That actually is something you don't want to do if you believe you're the best player at the table. You can say, I will find a better spot. Yes, in the long run, this is profitable. But here in this moment, I'm going to fold because I actually don't want to give you, the inferior player, a 40% chance of beating me. And that's where the Celtics allowing, I think, an inferior Knicks team to play the variance game is a mistake. It might not be a mistake if they were in the finals against Oklahoma City. If they're like, they're better than us, so we need to add this. They shouldn't need that en route to the finals.
We've never seen a team miss this many threes in 2 games, and there's a randomness approaching in basketball that's going to change some of these gulfs between talent. If you're coached poorly, if you don't make the changes, it is a C-shift time in the NBA, players and play. And we're right now watching with Boston and New York that Boston is saying we've gotten better at this surgical thing. Barkley feared that this is what the Warriors would be. Out on the perimeter, just shoot 53s and the game's going to be ruined. That team's here. It won the championship. And what I'm saying to you guys is if that team believes in what it is, not Tatum. Tatum doesn't have a moment as big as Brunson's last one in Detroit. Tatum doesn't have a moment yet, and this team is built for him to never need it because they've surgically made a 7-3 guy that can play 40 feet away from the basket, and when he's healthy and they take their threes, they're going to club just about everyone except now Oklahoma City.